It's the Marc Clarke Morning Show. Healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Immunity booster, and it's just as simple as taking one shot a day. Just one shot, 1 ounce a day for your immune system. That's it.
It's barely morning, and somehow Marc Clarke has to wake up. Of course, Marc has a little help.
I just want to float. Will you stay forever?
What we about? Wakanda.
Level up, 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 level up.
On the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. Riding bike on Hilton Head Island. I can't wait to get on the road again. Bam! Mom's in front. Bam! Skylar's second. Spencer's third. And last but not least, the first, Sid Rock. Heading to the beach.
Good morning. Welcome to the show. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. All is well. We got Can you hear the horn today?
Excuse me.
You hear the horn?
Big time. Oh, loud and clear, sir.
Just checking, just checking. So how are you, my friend?
I'm doing amazing. Happy Monday, sir. Happy President's Day.
Happy President's Day. A lot of people at home. Happy Mad Music Monday.
That too.
On the show. You know, have you had a chance to check out Yeezus at all? The Kanye West documentary on Netflix?
The only reason why I have not is because they tell me it gets emotional. So I said, let me get myself in the right frame. So no, I have not. But I've heard every one of my friends, music friends, everybody's talking about it.
Well, you know, the interesting thing, I think the thing about it that is good is that it's kind of like, it's about, you know, Kanye and the music. And basically, it's like, it'd be like if you had a camera and you know, a camera in the beginning of your life when you're trying to pursue your dream. I mean, how crazy is that, right? And I saw somebody commented who worked at the record company, and it was funny. He made an interesting point. Like, you know, so Kanye went to he was playing, you know, he was trying to playing cuts from his album.
I saw that.
You saw that, just playing it, and people were kind of like disinterested, or people just kind of whatever. But the guy had a great point. He said, you got to remember, this is before people had phones with cameras on them. And Bootsy, we remember those days. And when you just think about how crazy that is, like you're at work and somebody comes in with a camera crew and they're like, yeah, we're doing a documentary on Bootsy Vegas. It's kind of like, it's funny because you're right. We remember that world, but just think, our kids will not remember that world at all.
That's funny. Yeah, because everything is captured. But I will say the thing about him is what I know of his story, even before I see it, is he believed it and saw it before anybody else did. And I think he was a visionary. And I think sometimes we throw the word visionary and genius out there, but a visionary and a genius can see it way before everybody else can.
Oh yeah.
And I think him documenting is a testament of that. Is that he knew he belonged there. He knew he was good, and he literally was documented. And I think that is the most amazing thing about it too, because he saw it and believed before anybody else did.
And his friend who captured it, Cootie, who's been with him forever, also. And I have the clip here. You see Bootsy. Bootsy, is your mom still alive?
No, my mom died in high school.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and my dad died too when I was young.
And it's funny, even when I'm sure you're just like me, even just saying mom will get you emotional. So this scene is emotional because of the love. I mean, and again, I'm sure you had a loving mother. I had a loving mother.
100.
You could see, like you said, Bootsy, this visionary only child who had amazing parents who loved him very much and gave him the confidence to be who he was, and almost have an unshakable sense of self. You can hear in his mom the way she says his name. She says his name. It's almost like she's a teacher, so she says, and I'm sure she just reinforces him all the time. And you could see this. To me, this scene. This is one of the scenes where you get it. You get what Kanye West, why he probably is lost a bit, and it will never be the same, because like you said, Bootsy, his mom, his family prepared him to believe in himself, which, let's keep it real, very few people believe in themselves. And no matter what people say, and the funny part about it now, when you look back, because then that's the other part that's cool about this documentary is, Jesus Walks in these songs. I remember him saying this years ago. He said, I played Jesus Walk for y'all and y'all didn't say nothing. Like, and he had this, and musicians like yourself, you guys know that you can write a song 50 years ago and then it becomes a hit, but people think you just wrote it. You've been carrying this song forever and playing it for people, and they've been like, okay. And so he had that. And looking back, the funny part was, like, as genius as Jay-Z is, it was like, yeah, he's cool, but he ain't from the hood, therefore he probably can't be a good rapper. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's funny.
So many layers. It is so many layers to this.
Layers.
Because, as you know, you will, and whether people know this or not, you will never have the love of a mother's love. There's no replacing that.
No.
When you lose that in your life, no matter how old you are,
yes,
a part of you leaves never to return again.
Yes.
You can only internalize it. You can deal with it. So a lot of his issues, I think, number one, people never, and also, how many people have parents or people that believe in them when they were kids, when you believe in this astronomical dream as well? Because I have lived that, not to put myself on this level, but let me just say this. The program that I have, that I've sent 31 kids to college with, I pitched to 4 different people. I pitched to PG County, I pitched to Tacoma Park, I pitched to the old director of Department of Recreation. I can remember telling him, yeah, I'm going to do this. This is going to happen. And they're all going to go to college. And he looked over at this man and was like, yeah, thank you for coming, man. Have a good day. Blah, blah. Like literally, sometimes when you could see it before everybody else, you know what I mean? But then the kick side is, when you do make it, do you be humble, or do you really feel the need to remind people to say, now I told you? And I think that's where he's at, because I battle with that as well, often, all the time. There is and let me say this. And let me say this, Mark, and I'm going to turn back over to you. I hate bringing your wife into, I hate bringing Allison. But there's a reason why I keep you and Allison updated. Because I want y'all to know all that y'all have provided for me and these things. So when somebody begins to shoot it down and say it didn't happen, I want everybody, and another reason because Allison put her name on it.
Mm.
Like there were only 2 other people who even thought it was a good idea. So I'm just saying, like, I think when you look at this Kanye thing, the only person that really believed and empowered his dream is no longer there. He cannot replace it. And then, as you know, people search their lives looking for that type of love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They search forever. Like it took me a while to realize, oh, I'm never getting that again. I got sisters. And I had to realize, but I'm not getting my mother's love again. So I think when people look at that documentary and understand a visionary who has one person who believes in his vision, who created him, you can understand why these outbursts and a lot of things. Last thing, and I'm going to turn it back over to you. Kanye put his ass on the line a few times, and people didn't appreciate it. When George Bush and that was going on in freaking Katrina, he was the first person to say, got on CNN and said, hold on, man. George Bush, you don't like black people. You're doing this because they black. They shooting people. Every time he puts his behind on the line, black people throw it. And let me tell you what I do, though. I know one of his real issues was Obama called him an ass. He really felt, I don't know if that's in the doc, but I know this. And he feel like I put my ass on the line. I speak up for black people. I speak up for black people in fashion. I speak up and y'all give me y'all ass to kiss. And now I'm here.
Here we go. And so this is a scene where, again, you know, all of us who have mothers, or all of us that had mothers, we always have them.
Right.
To me, this, you know, the fact that Cootie captured this, his childhood friend, his friend captured this, is amazing. So when Mama West took them to their house in Chicago or had them come by, just look at the interaction with her and Kanye. Again, how she says his name so many times. It's almost like this reinforcing thing. Offering advice and basically, you know how it is. The whole world is telling you no. The whole world makes you feel a certain way. When you come home and mom just gives you that reset that you need.
Get your damn hands up. I was like, Mom, we about to blow up. We better blow up.
Oh, you know the one I used to always try to get you to do, Kanye, and you never did it, was that I walked through the halls of the school, and it's cool to be known by many for my rapping ability, but what about the... But now you're not walking down the halls, you're talking about college dropout.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a title or not. I told you that they're doing it. You did first on me on MTV, right?
You told me you were going to try to get it.
They said they're doing it.
They are?
They're going to use some of this footage for it.
All right, that's good, Kanye. This is so exciting, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah, can you believe it?
I can believe it the way you are. Somebody got to do it. You play tracks like Michael Jordan shoots free throws. Anybody does something that much and that long and it's that good, it's got to pay off. Can't go there and do nothing but blow up. Yeah. Isn't that fun? Yeah. The main thing is getting to do something that you really love to do. Right. But you know what, I was thinking about something I was going to say to you, Kanye, that I thought was important. How you were down to earth and everything, but you know you got a lot of confidence. You come off a little arrogant even though you're humble and everything. But it'd be important to remember that the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. You know what I mean?
So do you think I come off too arrogant?
No, come off just right. It's because it's what's inside. Because you can't be a star and not be a star. You gotta have some oomph about you. You don't want to just go saying, "Oh, I'm just really not all that," but thank you anyway. Nothing like that. I'm not saying come off like that. I think the way you handle yourself is really just perfect. But at the same time, if you remember, like, to stay on the ground, and you can be in the air all at the same time. That's what I think it means when it says the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. Everybody else sees the giant. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wow. You on mute.
Your thoughts?
I mean, a bunch of things. I swear I don't want to be putting myself in this, but the last 2 group meetings in my division, people have complained to my boss that I come off too cocky for the accolades of my program. I just literally had a conversation and somebody said, you buy into your press clippings of your program too much. And my response was, guess what my response was? Well, at least I'm out here creating press clippings. So, wow. And he's never going to get that again.
Right.
Like that whole exchange that he had, the whole understanding of somebody understanding that you have a big vision. I think he's battling with that as well. That was a lot for me to look at, bro.
Oh man.
That was a lot for me to look
at. It's funny because the documentary is so kind of
that's why I look at it.
It's so guerrilla. It's so like, just like having a camera, much like that clip that I just took from my television. It works though, because it's that, like you said, that kind of thing right there tells you everything, right? And again, I don't think you can't help but be emotional, because if you've had great parents, or if you have not had great parents, at the end of the day, what you see is, like Sandra said, that woman loved her son.
Yeah.
It's like encouragement,
loved him, but empowered him.
Exactly.
She was able to help him navigate where he was trying to go. I think that could be part of it. Mark, there's a reason why I would call you and tell you how inspiring you are when you was doing this television journey. You know what I mean? And I was hoping that you knew that people were inspired, because you were doing something that had not been done before. And when people like him, or like what you was just doing, trying to do something that ain't been done before, and you're battling mentally, you don't have nowhere to go, that's a lot to internalize. And I can see he's looking for that, probably, with all due respect, in Kim Kardashian and her family, and they ain't nowhere near that. You know what I mean? He's looking, where would he go now? Where does he go? Yeah. Who can he talk to?
And again, and probably because of, like you said, the future is probably on the spectrum a little bit too. But you always had that kind of let's keep it real. We always had that friend who had a situation like that, where when the parents, like the parents who were keeping it together weren't there, things just kind of went haywire, or that husband or wife or spouse,
right?
And so it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and it's great insight. And again, I think it really kind of speaks to the power of parenting.
Man.
And it's funny, we as everybody, most people in the DMV know my wife, Allison. And as I always reflect on life, and I was a caregiver for Allison's dad, who I always say is probably the smartest man that I ever knew, one of the greatest men that I ever knew, and Allison's mom, who was one of the greatest women I ever knew. And then I had my mother, a single mom, same thing. You just realize that our kids are the reflection of, and when you arm them with this kind of point of view, or we arm them, like you just said, confidence. Reality is most people aren't confident. You talking about your program, being excited about your program, you praising your program, and then some people say you're whatever. It's almost like, why we need to focus on what it's doing. It's a win for these kids out here.
But also going to show you how many people around them are not believing in their dreams.
Exactly.
Okay. How many people that are in leadership positions feel that way about them? You know what I mean? How many people don't even have the mental capacity to take you to the next level? And when somebody is doing it and is proud about it, you feel like it is a negative thing. These are all the things where in life, we're lucky if we could get people like that. You know what I mean? Like, just think, like, I don't know if people know this. Me and you kind of just met each other for real a couple of years ago, but it's like we've been knowing each other for 20 years. We get on the phone and talk for 2 hours.
Yeah.
We got like, okay, but here's the thing. It ain't many people like me and you that I know I don't have a lot of people like you that I can talk to. And just going to show you that a lot of these issues is people in leadership positions or people trying to navigate non-traditional ways of life. They don't always have an outlet or somebody to talk to. And when they lose it, what does that do for them? Because I think that part of the story is what we're seeing from Kanye is now you have an inside track, because the other thing about him is he's probably frustrated that people don't get it by now.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Oh, yeah.
probably like, why don't you, like, because I deal with that in my program. Like, hey, man, I've been here 5 years. Why y'all not getting it? Why don't I get more funding? Why can I get more opportunities to go to, like, why y'all not? And sometimes that's what the outburst is about.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so that's it. It's going on. Yeezus is on Netflix. I think was it the 23rd today? No, the 23rd. I think is the second episode. The first episode's there. Go check it out. In the building. Oh, she's my baby sister. She's super talented. She's an artist.
Who are
She
you
is
talking about?
amazing. I'm talking about the Shannon Ramsey is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. Talking about parenting, Shannon's kids had her running round this morning, baby. This was not going to happen. Them kids had Shannon stressed. But look at her.
Oh my God.
She still
First
made
of all, let me thank both of you. Okay. Mark, I truly appreciate this. My kids. Oh man, I love them.
Hey, you try to internalize it. You try to put it together.
It's a lot. So I woke up this morning and I kind of promised that they could get a dog, but then I didn't promise that they could get a dog. So
oh, snap.
Yeah, so daughter wakes up like, there's a dog downstairs. Is it? And I'm like, there's no, and then there's this huge meltdown. So I've had to deal with that as well as trying to get my new single Faith verified and registered on Apple Music. So it's been a time this morning. So thank you. Forgive me. I'm just dealing with real life stuff over here. What'd you say?
Keep the faith like your new single. Keep the faith. Keep praying like your new single.
I am keeping the faith. Okay, that's the only way I'm making it through being a mommy, an artist, a wife, entrepreneur. I still have a 9 to 5. Like there's a lot going on in one day in my life.
Well, and we were just talking about the Yeezus documentary. I don't know if you had a chance to check it out yet, but if you can check it out, I think all artists get a chance to, see.
It's funny because I actually, my cousin had texted me and she said, give me something new to watch. And everybody started like listing things that she could watch. Of course, the Kanye documentary. I think it's just one episode up right now. I haven't watched it yet. However, it's at the top of my list. Everybody that I've talked to this weekend, my brother, my cousins, everybody said that it's really good. And it gives them insight into, why he is the way he is. I did hear a snippet of it when he was talking to his mom. And I did hear like how much she truly believed in him.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you just checked in because we just watched this. Let's watch it again, Shannon. This is part of it. I'm going to play it because again, you're a parent, and we were just talking about parents, and we'll move on to get on your project. But I wanted you're a parent, you're in the midst of it, and me and Bootsy were just talking about we both have lost our parents, about that mama's love, and when mama gone, how it affects you. And then the way you could just tell by their interaction, they're dynamic.
Get your damn hands up. I was like, Mom, we about to blow up. You better blow up.
Oh, the one I used to always try to get you to do, Kanye, and you never did it, was that I walked through the halls of the school, and it's cool to be known by many for my rapping ability, but what about but now you're not walking down the halls, you're talking about college dropout.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a title or not. I told you that they're doing it. You did first on me on MTV, right?
You told me you were going to try to get it.
They said they're doing it.
They are?
They're going to use some of this footage for it.
All right. That's good, Kanye. This is so exciting, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah, can you believe it?
I can believe it the way you are. Somebody got to do it. You play tracks like Michael Jordan shoots free throws. Anybody does something that much and that long and it's that good, it's got to pay off. Can't go there and do nothing but blow up. Yeah. Isn't that fun? Yeah. The main thing is going to do something that you really love to do. Right. But you know what? I was thinking about something I was going to say to you, Kanye, that I thought was important. How you were down to earth and everything, but you got a lot of confidence. You come off a little arrogant, even though you're humble and everything. But it'd be important to remember that the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. You know what I mean?
So do you think I come off too arrogant?
No, come on, just right. It's because it's what's inside. Because you can't be a star and not be a star. You gotta have some oomph about you. You don't want to just go saying, "Oh, I'm just really not all that," but thank you anyway. Nothing like that. I'm not saying come off like that. I think the way you handle yourself is really just perfect. But at the same time, if you remember, like, to stay on the ground, and you can be in the air all at the same time. That's what I think it means when it says the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. Everybody else sees the giant. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was the clip, Shannon, and it's funny because you're dealing with your children right now.
That's the actual clip that I did get to hear, but now I got to see it when you played it. Yeah, and I'm reporting to you live from my daughter's room. So speaking as a mom, that part really did touch me. The powerful thing was when she said, you know, the giant that looks in the mirror. He doesn't see that he's a giant. You know what I mean? I think that what I've always learned is the people who are most impactful are the ones that don't realize their reach. You know, we don't. She was basically just trying to tell him, be exactly who you are and understand you are great. You know what I mean? You're great. You're amazing. You are who you are. You're going to succeed. You're going to, you know, you're going to do exactly what he's doing now, which unfortunately she isn't here to see. But just know who you are within. A lot of times we don't always have to say, you know, like when you become 18 and you say, I'm an adult. I'm an adult.
I'm grown
I mean,
now.
anybody guilty of that? I'm so guilty of that, right? And it's like, well, a true adult doesn't have to say that they're an adult. You know?
That's so true. That's true.
So yeah, she was definitely a huge, obviously she's his mom, but she was definitely a huge force for him and a huge source of encouragement and, you know, belief in him.
And Shannon, at my event, your whole family, your whole crew rolled out heavy.
Yes, they did.
I was just like, in addition to Shannon's family being beautiful, super supportive. So now that you have your own family, Shannon, talk to, you know, we'll get into your music, but just briefly hit us with that, because I think that's a big factor, right? Like me and our family. Our family's move is family. You know what I mean? So our first preference is probably just hanging out with each other. And it's, you know, my oldest daughter has a boyfriend. They're going some things now, but it's like you realize, and they're in, two of them are in college. What they're realizing is not everybody's family is that way. Not everybody's family is family. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because, you know, dealing with roommates, dealing with the world, dealing with negativity, you know, that family becomes your backstop in a lot of ways. So again, Shannon, with your amazing family where you came from, how does that translate into your little family, your immediate family that you're growing now?
Well, I have to say it starts with my initial home base. I call the first five, which is me, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my home base, right? And so, like, if I haven't talked to them for a while, I'll send everybody a group text and I'll just be like, I'm just touching base, you know, because I think the way I was raised obviously helps me raise my children. And some things I've kept, and some things I don't. But with my mom and my dad, the one thing I really appreciate about them was they were similar to how Kanye's mom was. You know, like when I was younger, I didn't even really know what I wanted to do until I was probably about 16, you know? And I think it was also because I didn't see a lot of people really doing what they loved. A lot of people, my mom and my dad really did what they had to do to support me and my siblings, and so forth with my grandparents and my, you know, it was, you know, it was just that lineage of people, you know, getting up, going to work, coming home, taking care of their kids, and they did the best that they could, and we turned out amazing. So I'm not in no way, shape, or form complaining about that. But the one thing that our parents did, because they saw that they knew that they had to go out and do what they had to do, they allowed me, my brother, my sister to just blossom in the way that we were, you know what I mean? My mom and my dad were very supportive of us. Um, they never discouraged us from becoming the artist. You know, my brother is an actor in California. My sister is also, she's an actor and an entrepreneur.
Wow.
And we've all really stepped into our places as artists because of the support and the love that we've gotten from our mom and dad. And it's not that they never said that we couldn't. You know, they would say it might be a little tough, you know, or, you know, being an artist is very an intangible thing. You know what I mean? You gotta have the belief in order to make it something that people can see and for it to manifest. Okay. Cheap plug, the name of the album. And so thank you. So and so that's what they did for us. They helped build our belief in ourselves, because I think my parents realized that we were gonna need it because of where we were headed. And so now with my starting five, my little cluster, my little branch of Zion, that's what I like to call it. I allow my children to be as expressive as they want to be, right? Of course, in the realms of being respectful and everything. I'm still a Black mama, okay? And that will never change. That will never change. However, I allow them to express themselves, and if they're having a bad day, if they're upset, if they're angry, if I've done something to them that they don't really like, you know what I mean, or I've said something, or you know, I allow them to express themselves because I want them to trust what they feel within. I want them to believe in themselves. I don't want them to be afraid to speak up. I was afraid to kind of speak up in certain situations when I was younger. And I had to grow into, you know, my self-awareness, my self-worth, to realize, you know, I'm going to speak up for myself. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to take charge of my life. I'm going to take charge of my career. And I'm going to push for the things that I know God has for me. And so I'm trying to teach that in them early. So, you know, especially spirituality. I make them pray together as brother and sister. They pray, my husband and I, we pray with them. So we are building their spiritual base, and we're building their belief in themselves at a very, very early age.
Go ahead, Shannon and Ramsey. That's what I'm talking about. That's right, doing it. And I want to now, Shannon, let's get into this project. So here's the thing that I love about the project. I think the you know, having great music is key. I mean, your talent is undeniable. Okay, we know that.
Oh,
Talent's
thank you.
undeniable.
To God be the glory.
But the package you put it in and getting that right is always the challenge, right, Shannon?
Yes, it is still a challenge.
I was listening. You know, we recently had the verses. I don't know if you guys watched the Music Soul Child versus Anthony Hamilton, right?
Mm-hmm.
And today I was playing Music's, I don't know if it's his first album that had Love on it. I don't know which album that was.
Second
album. You said it's the second?
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to it, and I was thinking to myself, Music Soul Child is interesting because he's a talented guy. He's had some big hits. I don't know. He's got a nice fan base, but I was like, and then you look at Anthony Hamilton, and you look at the two, right? You go, so what's the difference? And Anthony Hamilton has succeeded. Anthony Hamilton is not necessarily a sex symbol like Maxwell. He does a lot of love ballad songs. And I'm like, you know, you just be like, some people make it, some people don't. Some projects connect, some projects don't. It's just mysterious, right? I don't know. It's hard to understand, because I was thinking that second album, I think he had two massive ones on that album, and then that was kind of it, right? As far as the whole album was concerned. And I think Music Soul Child, but I guess when you look at projects, that's kind of how it goes with most artists, right? Very few have a whole album that was off the chain or had that super success. it seems like it's no rhyme or reason, because most of the time the music's great, but some connect, some don't. Radio decides to play some, radio decides not to play other.
Right.
So I'm saying all that, Shannon, to say to me,
who's out at the time? I'm sorry.
Right. And so I say all that to say, Shannon, to me, your album, I played it for my kids. It just seems like it's so ready. Like it hits you in the head. It brings you in. So we're gonna listen to the beginning, Shannon. You can tell us about that and everything else. But just the way it starts to me, captures the imagination.
Disappearing and feel I fall again. My heart is leading me right where I belong. Where I belong. Little doubt, cause this journey gets lonely, but I will never give up on myself. I hear your voice holding to the sound. Time again, it keeps calling for me, and I'm falling for it. Feels so good on me. Let the world see that you got me. I can ride it. It keeps calling for me, and I'm falling for it. Feels so good on me. Let the world see that you got me. Jesus, I'm riding. It keeps calling.
Too bad you're on mute, Mark. Too bad you're mute.
Shannon
we would love to hear what you're saying.
Again, Shannon, it's like it sounds modern. It catches your attention. It's like, again, Bootsy, your first take on just hearing it start.
I loved it. I love the whole writing in the background. I love the presentation. I love what I was preparing for something. These are my thoughts being conveyed. Here it is. I loved it.
Shannon?
Yes.
Am I correct? That's what it was?
Yes. So these songs are all my children, right? So I have 3 + 8. I have 11 children.
Good gracious.
So
who are you, Nick Cannon?
Well, my mother is the 13th child. Okay, so it would not be abnormal over here. My mother is child number 13.
Oh wow! And so and shout out to Kiki Wyatt. You're right. That's she's pregnant again, y'all. By the way,
I love Kiki Wyatt. By the way, so have you ever seen her play drums?
What?
Yes. No, I've seen
she's crazy.
Oh yeah, she plays everything.
Her talent is amazing.
It's out of this. Like, she's an alien. I call it like sometimes with Midas, right? So Midas is like this genius. He's like from another planet, especially when we're creating and we're working. And so with calling, right? Calling it's perfectly the introduction to the album, because it's only been what God has placed in me, right? The gift of song. The gift of healing through song, which I really wasn't able to believe everyone would say it to me, but I really wasn't able to believe it because I had to do some work within, right? I had to do some stuff with me. And so there were so many nights, and this may sound cliche, but it's so true, where I would cry. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would just be crying because I just felt like I wasn't doing what it is I was supposed to do. I was stressing about like the music and everything. And I had quit like 1,000 times. Okay. Because being a mom and having to, mom comes first. Right. So it's just like, you know what? I'm just going to be a mom. I remember telling my husband, like, I'm done. I don't want to do music anymore. I'm not going to record anything, not going to sing anything. This was after I had released 2 singles. And, I just felt myself coming back to this place where I didn't want to be, where I felt depressed and I felt sad and I felt overwhelmed and I felt like I was worthless. And I felt, a lot of people go through those things, right? With the mental health and just really trying to keep yourself, on a higher mental place, but spiritual place as well. And I just got tired of coming to that bottom. You know what I mean? It was just that cycle. And I felt like in the midst of it, it was me. It was me. It was Shannon bringing Shannon down. It wasn't God condemning me for not being where I needed to be, because God doesn't do that to you. It was a reminder, though, I have something for you. I have something for you. Now hindsight is 2020. So now when I see those nights and I remember those things and I remember all of the things that I used to wake up and write down in the middle of the night, because that would help me. That would help bring me, really calm me down, is the writing in the middle of the night. And when I look back on it now, it was God's reminder. Don't give up. You can't give up. I have something else for you. It was just his calling. He kept calling me and calling me and calling me. And then we were one day in the studio and we were just about finished the album. Calling, I think, was like the last record that we did. Faith was actually the first. Fight was actually the first, but Faith, I think, was the second. But Calling was like the last one. And it became the intro, because I was like, this was the beginning of it all. Like God kept calling me back. I wanted to disappear, right? The record says disappearing, right? In fear I fall again. And it was like, I didn't want to fall again. I didn't want to do that anymore.
So it was the fear of failure that was hitting you.
Yes, it was. Well, I don't know if it was failure or more so than it was this feeling of being incomplete.
Yeah. Just not fulfilling what you thought you was here to be fulfilling.
Yeah. And it wasn't anything that I conjured up. It just kept happening. And I was just like, because our spirits know who we are and where we should be. They know it. It's not the spirit that we're trying to convince. It's this flesh. It's your soul. You have to keep reminding yourself, right? It's just like salvation. And not trying to be like all spiritual and deep, but you have to, it's a choice. It's a daily choice every day to choose God, to choose, you know what I mean? And I'm the type of person where I'm a spiritual being. I don't like to exclude any faith, because I feel like there's only one God. Whatever it is that you call him. Yeah. But if we're spiritual, we're going to treat each other with love, kindness, so this album is not to exclude anybody. I follow Christ. Yes, I do. But this album was made between a Christian and a Muslim. If you want to get into religion, we did this together.
It's like whatever you call him or her, or not.
Or not.
That's Allison's dad right there. Beloved, people, atheist. I don't believe in God. Beloved, God bless you. It's like whatever. You're on your own journey. But the irony is, you may not call it what you call it, but you're gonna call it something, even if you don't call it something. Even if you deny that you call it something. But that's not for me to understand. That's for you to understand.
It's not for me to understand, because at the end of the day, what I know is, Christ said, love God and then love your neighbor.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So for me, that's calling was just the introduction to this whole process.
I love it. And so let's see. I'm trying to sneak into the next.
Take me back once again. I need you again. Take me back once again. Take me back once again. I need you again. Take me back once again. One more time. There you are, still in my dreams. I hear you knocking, I answer, and you keep on pressing me, but I can't front, I wasn't ready. Pushing you further away. I know you know it, but I need more time. Just know I'm on the way. Lord, you know I'm coming. Again I go falling, but you ain't recalling mistakes I made often. You never stop calling. That is all gone. I'm writing this song to say, take me back once again.
Give the bass player
Oh
some.
my
Oh
God.
man, let me tell you something. Gary Groove is gonna kill that record. Do you hear me? I cannot wait for the
Yes.
live release of this album. It's amazing.
Tell us about that. Now, what's the name of that song?
Take Me Back.
And
So Take Me Back is really God's open door policy.
Ooh, I love it.
You know, and I have to give huge shout outs to my co-write Josh Lay, because I come in the studio, I come in and I just come in with these ideas. Midas will start playing something. And mind you, every record on here is originally created for this. Now we're talking about Midas. He has track after track after track already stored up. But when I expressed my vision and what I wanted to do with this album, which is I wanted to infuse my first love and passion for R&B music with my spirituality. Like I just wanted to merge the two, and I wanted it to feel organic. We did everything from scratch basically. And so he would play these records and me and Josh would be sitting there and I would just be like, what if we talked about God taking us back over and over? You know what I mean? Like I would just come up with my crazy ideas and then we would pile on top of that to make this magic. And Take Me Back is really about God's open door policy, you know, and it's crazy that it obviously goes into the next record. Calling was just him drawing me in and bringing me back, and then Take Me Back was me basically apologizing or repenting, if you will, that I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? In the first verse, there you are, still in my dreams. Mind you, a few seconds ago, I just told you guys I would wake up in the middle of the night crying and wanting to, needing him to just relieve me of this depression or whatever it is I was going through. And so Take Me Back was just me saying to him, God, I've always loved you. I've always been here. I've always wanted you in my life. But forgive me. I wasn't ready. But I'm coming. I'm on my way. And it also subscribes to the fact that we're never going to be perfect, right? We're never going to get there. This song could apply to you at any point in time in your life. We're never going to get there. We're never going to meet that mark. And that is okay. And he knows that. So, I'm coming. I'll be right back, Jesus. That's basically what I was saying.
Facial expressions for me. It's the facial expressions.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's he and I. That's our relationship.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well, let me just say, and like you said, the blessing that I operate under is I don't have that expectation of perfection anymore, and I don't have the pressure. I think we put pressure on ourselves. Whatever you believe in, I don't have the pressure anymore. You know what I mean? I'm good. You know what I mean? That's right. I worked that out. You know what I mean? And because I think the guilt piece, you can't have faith and fear, and guilt is fear. So it's kind of like I've given that up. Because it's already tough enough to stay positive. But when you throw your guilt on there or you throw your fear on there, so that's where I am. But again, hearing and in the song, your music, it sounds so contemporary, but it does have a message. But it's not. It's hitting you over the head, but it's almost like you jamming. So you don't really. It's not. You know what I mean? I like it. I like it.
And that was the point, though, because think about it. Like I wouldn't name any artists' names, but you have some music that's just so. If you really listen to the lyrics, right? They could be very demonic or very negative or very.
Oh my goodness!
And people go to these things. They wear the T-shirts. They cheering. They're chanting. And a lot of times, a lot of them don't know what's being said, but yet it's seeping in. It's seeping in, right? And so for me, the way God showed it to me was I created all of this. I created music. So if they can use it for something that may not be my good, why can't you use it for my good? Why can't you do the same thing? And so for me, it's like you could be riding to this song on your way to the club. You could be riding to this song on your way to church. You could be riding to this song on your way to a festival, on your way to, you know, a wine tasting with your girlfriends or your guys, or going out on a date with your boo, right? But while you're riding, while you're at those events and this song comes on, you're getting this positivity. You're getting this spirituality. I'm not the type of person to beat anybody over the head with a preach or a Bible or a script. That's not me. Because at the end of the day, I feel like once you cultivate your own relationship with God, he's going to be the one. Right. If it's really real and true, you know, it's gonna correct the things that aren't right. You know what I mean? And so it's not my job to beat you over the head with it. This is really just my experience with him. This is my relationship with him. And this is the way it comes out of me. And I just want to encourage everybody that it's important that we monitor what we listen to. It's important.
And let me hop in, because you're right. It's Mad Music Monday, and this will be a whole other show, and we're going to do it soon, is don't get it twisted. A lot of this BS music that people are talking about, the culture. Let me tell you something. Hip hop and culture, that got lost years ago. Okay, that got lost years ago. A lot of the music that these kids are being programmed to these kids is a tool to send them to jail, to send them down the wrong path. That's a whole other conversation, though.
Right.
And like you said,
it's not even just that. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like propaganda. It's like propaganda that we're feeding our kids. Like, it hit me the other day. I'm listening to this station, this program to older people, 45 plus, right? And they're editing songs. It was a Warren G song, right? 6 in the clip and 1 in the hole, and that, right? The throwback station. And they edited out the clips, and I'm like, don't worry about people 45 plus. You already got a relationship. This is for kids. Not all, but the hip hop, the stations that are targeting kids 12 to 18, that's who needs to be edited. That's what the music needs to be taken care of. After that, you're a grown ass person. Who gives a damn? But we're not even monitoring. Again, back to Kanye West. His mom knew his lyrics. His mom was so invested into her child. She not only knew what he was listening to, she knew what he was writing. How many of us have kids who rap all the time and never take the time to even listen to what they're saying? Right. Or listen to what they're listening to.
Yeah.
But also,
I'm sorry, Boosie, real quick. I'm R&B was my first love. Hip hop was my second. And so when it comes to music, so it's not just hip hop, because there's some good stuff out there.
The music industry.
It's just some music, right? It's just some music that isn't good for you, because there's a lot of hip hop, a lot of R&B, a lot of secular music that I ride to, and I get goosebumps. I tear up because God's speaking to me through those things. You know what I mean? So it's not just
hip hop. You know what? And I only mentioned it hip hop because I guess my point was we have a lot of conversations about what culture is. And you're right. Music, hip hop, R&B, gospel. A lot of people claim culture, but it's not really culture, because it's a money making machine that's actually out of control. And so that's why you're right. It's not just hip hop. It's music, and music has been everything gets co-opted and becomes all about the money. And so that's why people say, why are they singing about the same thing? Why are they rapping about the same thing? Because of the money. That's why. Go ahead.
But also, I just think the great point that both y'all making is it is spiritual. Like what we're really dealing with is when you're taking it in and hear it, you are connecting to a higher power that is spiritual.
All music, yeah,
all of it. What are you connecting to, and what are you taking in? Because I think Maurice White told me this from Earth, Wind & Fire when I was working with him. He told me that when people listen to music, they really want to escape their reality. He said, but it's what reality you're going to introduce them to. But
that's good.
He was like, music really is spiritual. He was like, it's super spiritual. But when people take it in and they get these experiences, music is supposed to help you escape your realities to get you back on the track to where you want to go. And I think the real point is what you're saying, Shannon and Mark, is do people understand that it is spiritual, that you're taking stuff in? We can even go to drill. Me and my students, we've been arguing over drill music. We have been arguing over this drill music thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed that New York is trying to ban drill music.
Right.
One of the principles in drill music that we got into a big argument is what is now accepted as reality and normal. And one thing that I got into with them was, and I'm sure Shannon, you know this, Mark, you may know this too, is that a lot of the drill music is people be making songs about dead people, their dead ops. You know, you got people who actually will go to their,
the people's funerals and
exactly. Like that's been happening.
yeah.
This been happening in Baltimore, New York, Detroit.
Okay. Stop right there. Now, what? the 50 plus crowd wants y'all to break this down. Now, what are y'all talking about? Like you say, so drill music makes music about the dead people who they killed?
Well, no. Okay, let me say this.
Break it down.
Drill music, if I had to explain it, is probably the most disrespectful form of hip hop. They basically just say whatever they want. It's all about getting your ops. It's all about I'm on a mission. Blase.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but now they're venturing into the. And let me say this: they have normalized making songs about dead people. They're dead ops. I don't know if you know about that, Shane. Like this has been happening a lot, and I'm like, well, this is now becoming normal. And when you're enter into a rap music that is already spiritual, and you're making songs about somebody who's your dead op, you're now venturing deeper into different spiritual things. And that is one of the things that I have been focusing with them. Like, do you know what you're taking in? Do you know what you are internalizing? I remember I played 4 songs for them, and I was like, do you know what you listen to? So y'all remember the song Trinidad James, this gold all in my chain. But y'all remember the joint when he was like, pop the Molly, I'm sweating. Woo, pop the Molly, I stopped it and was like, yeah, but do you know what you're listening to? Do you know that somebody spiritually is making this a cool thing for you? Do you know that you're normalizing that Molly is a good? Do you know what's in it? And I just think this whole conversation is about is that number one, do we know that it's spiritual, and do we know the spirits that we're taking in? Have we even got that deeper into it?
Right. Wow. And I have to say I'm definitely, I can bear witness to that. When that song came out, my cousins, we were jamming. Okay, I mean, having a good time.
It was a five-part song. It was a hook.
I totally understand it, because now as a mom too, I would hear something and I'm like, what are you listening to? What are you watching? Not just music, YouTube, all that stuff. Like what are they talking about? You know what I mean?
Well, thank God we have Manifest.
Yes, thank the Lord.
Because hold on, let me say this. The number 1 song last year was a song called Pooh Shiesty, Get It Back in Blood. And
yes, I know what you're talking about.
And like when they played it for me, I was like, wow, you know what I mean? And I just think this conversation is, number one, do we realize that we're connected to, that this music is spirit, this music is really seeping into you, and do you know what you're taking in? So go ahead.
Right.
So we're talking about Manifest now. Shannon, we're going to be having you on until you release this. And actually, the week it was the next week that it dropped.
So we're dropping the first single, Faith, which is actually the next track after Take Me Back. Okay. And then I'll probably drop one more single before I drop the album.
Okay.
And so on
Are we
March
gonna get
1st,
some videos for this? Are we gonna get some videos?
So Faith's video will be, my goal is to actually have it out because, I'm an independent. I own my own label. So,
all right.
The boss is working this out, y'all.
You own it all.
Y'all work with me. But the video contracts and everything have already been sent over. So it's solidified. Now it's just a matter of finding the location that we need, and then we're getting it done. So the video should be out sometime in March as well. But the single itself drops in March 1st. So many people want it. People love it. They've heard samples of it, especially with the video that we sent you, Mark. And also shout out to Mr. Henry, who was on with us, Henry Harris, who was on with us the first time.
The first episode.
Yes, he put the video on his music channel as well, so I'm so grateful. And also I actually got enrolled in his school.
Awesome.
The Excellent Music Academy. And so I've been rocking and rolling with him since we met that day. Because you were like, hook up, connect. And I hit him that exact day.
I'm going to take the class too, because again, you know what I thought about, Shannon, was that cover, you should look into making your cover an NFT. I saw Gary.
Look at God. So this would be about the second confirmation for that. I've been researching. You guys, Gary V. You've heard of the guy Gary V.
Yeah, that's what he said to do. Yeah.
So I've been watching his videos on NFTs. It's like it's a little overwhelming because it's a little confusing to me.
Yes.
But I was talking to my husband the other day. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. I just need, if y'all know somebody that can help me and educate me on how to do it.
We're looking for that whole space. I think we all need to study it. At the end of the day, it's that digital image that is your album. What it basically allows people to do is they can buy a piece of that and to be valuable.
It's just how to get it on there.
Exactly. And so yes, exactly. Because there's a couple things. Me. And so I actually, as we wrap things up, I'm trying to figure out, Shannon, let's see where I'm at.
You and nobody else, who would I be?
So that's Hero. So if you go to Faith, I can
if I traded my soul for the whole world,
tell you exactly. 1 second.
I don't really notice competition. I need you. Don't ever leave me.
So much for editing. But go ahead, Mark.
Where did Shannon go?
She's going to find something for you, some information. So maybe you probably should just keep jamming until she get back.
Use me. Learning life a lesson. I'm counting my blessings. Need your presence. I found it. Looking for you. I need to hear from you. I tried to find your love.
Who does Shannon remind you of, man? She's got an interesting style. Are we talking about?
I love her tone.
So, Mark, if you go to about 3 minutes or so.
Oh, 3 minutes? Okay.
You'll see Faith.
Hey, and just so you know, I love your accent. I just love your accent.
What's your accent?
You know who she reminds me of a little bit? I don't even know if she can hear me though. Mark, you know who she reminds me of?
Who?
She reminds me of Jody Watley a little bit.
Interesting.
She's like a deep. Oh, this is my damn deal.
There you go.
There we go.
Just like quicksand, I'm covered in flaws, and he still loves me. A heart of gold that you will never find here.
Come on.
Trust me, I know. Lead me, guide me. It's all you.
Okay, so Shannon, what can people do if they want to pre-order? How do we get it? Let's get it popping.
Yes. Okay. So pre-ordering is on all digital platforms. And then on March 1st, the Faith is the single from the EP Manifest. It'll be available for everybody to purchase on March 1st. So please support it. It's amazing music. You can listen to it with your grandma, your kids, your boo, your pastor, everybody. Everybody can listen and love it.
Well, Shannon, we love you and continue success. Of course, we'll have you on the release date. And everybody, thank you. If you're watching this live, thank you. If you're watching this at a later date, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keep the faith. Keep the faith.
Keep the faith. Tomorrow, it's Tell the Truth Tuesday with the legendary Hell Bell. We have some historic pictures, photos, movies we'll be talking about, and moments that really happened in Harold Bell's library. Oh, that's a library? Oh, Lord. All right, y'all. Keep the faith. We'll see you tomorrow.
I say no faith. Walk it out. Woo!